This is me leaving for a weekend in Prague with a flight at 6 a.m. while being sick. I had a headache, I was sleep deprived, I was completely clogged, but throughout the flight I was listening to this podcast about the history of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is quite interesting. And here it's me not knowing that the next 10 hours would have been horrendous. We walk around, we arrive at the airport, we get out, and I realize it would have been horrible. Here's a cute cafe where we had brunch. My sinuses were clogged, burned, I felt a fever, I wanted to explode, tell me. But then I get home, I take an aspirin, and then I nap for an hour. And then I was fresh for the next days. Kind of. But let's go back and start from the beginning. We arrive on a quiet Thursday morning, and the lighting does a beautiful job at emphasizing the architecture. All the buildings are historical and they have their own personality. And these are all the residuals of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. We walk around with this huge backpack, and I'm gonna confess, I was panting. And we noticed the amount of Starbucks around. I don't know why. There was a Starbucks every 50 meters. The views were stunning. Oh, and then there was this pistachio gay ChatGPT generated picture. Like, what the fuck? And we got a chimney cake that I think is typical of a lot of Eastern European areas. And then we walk on the bridge.
Did what it did and stuck itself upon his wrist with secrets that it hid. Now he's got superpowers, he's no ordinary kid, he's been.
Here's the astronomical clock in the main square of Prague. Really fast escalators. And we had a traditional Czech schnitzel with chicken. And I really wanted to visit the supermarket, and I saw this weird pepperoni, but I couldn't continue, so we went home and I slept, as I said before. And then it went kind of fine. We booked this Lebanese restaurant. It was really cozy, really authentic. We got a lot of food. And there was a birthday happening as well. Apart from the fact that they tried to kill me 2 times because I said I'm allergic to walnuts, and they were like, a free dessert, and they were literally all with walnuts, but it was good. The second day I was feeling much better. We went to a traditional bakery. We had bready pastries with poppy seeds, raspberries. This is the tower of the Czech television. These tower babies are actually a sculpture, which we found really funny. Here are beers in plastic bottles. We walked around this cafe, slightly overpriced, but quite hipster. There were a lot of people working and studying. And this is a Czech fast food chain selling baguettes and soups. This was an open market. And then we got sucked into the vortex of capitalism by checking a mall. And we went to Decathlon because they don't have it in Denmark. And then I was like, I really want to sell my data to get the measurement of my feet. So we did it. We walked around a little bit more, but I was getting hungry, actually hangry. And there was a nice butcher, and we went there because I knew that they had meat produce, and it's been so long since I had a good tartar. And I arguably had the best tartar in my life so far. Oh my God. And then we continued walking, but not being enough, we had another chimney cake. And then we realized that we were missing one thing from the to-do list, which was having Pilsner, the local beer. So we immediately went to a bar. And actually here I forgot my Uniqlo bag, so we had to go back. And then, as the best alcoholics, we directed to a speakeasy. We wanted to have a couple of drinks. And I usually don't drink, but in this case, they also had menus where they were talking about the history of the drinks and all that. So I got allured into that. So we had a drink, and another one, and another one. Good drinks for a great night's sleep. On this day we were supposed to go back home as well, but before we decided to visit a castle. We went to the train station first because we wanted to leave our heavy bags so that we could walk around freely. And we went to a cafe. It was cute, there was a group of American tourists downstairs, and it was really nice to listen to them. On the way to the castle, it felt like the city was so big, and we feel like we underestimated how much there was to do in Prague while going. We did a long walk on the sea, there were some open markets, And then we started to walk uphill. Beautiful view. There was a cemetery around this church as well. Two things that really surprised me about Prague were, first of all, the transportation was super reliable and we moved everywhere with trains. And meanwhile, look at this beautiful train view. The architecture was beautiful, especially these roofs that you could see, and it looked like there were some houses that were kind of built, adding blocks incrementally. And I think it's really cool. Then we went back to the city center. We were looking for some lunch. And while walking around, we stumbled across this fair they were having. So we opted for ramen.
Bruh.
We tried to soak in the last things of Prague. We go into this second-hand shop. We don't find anything really. We continue walking. And this time towards the train station, because there would have been a bus that was supposed to bring us to the airport. Of course, our seats were at the opposite side of the airplane, so I had a chance to rest a little bit and think about normal life once back. Thank you so much for watching this video and see you next time.